I would say over the last 3 years, the world has changed tremendously. Everyone would agree that the acceptance of cloud technology, visual computing, and AI has become almost mainstream. It's not quite there, but everyone does a lot more things that we would have thought impossible before, especially in the automotive industry of how we're handling data, how we're interacting with the data, and what we can do on that level. And that's where we step in. Synthetic realities have become a cornerstone of how you interact with your customers and how you interact with your employees and how you present yourself to the world. Because computing power and the virtual collaboration has become so strong, this is something that you should check into. How can I use the building of synthetic realities for my benefits to prove what I'm doing, to work more in a virtual world and evaluate what I want to do next in my development and innovation cycle? 3D is incredibly powerful. We're 3D beings. We want to understand how things operate. Obviously, in the virtual world, we can't touch things, but we can get really close to understand how things work. And with the latest ways of how WebGL, pixel streaming, and other technologies get you to that data really quick in a very simple manner, allows you to do things that otherwise have been too complex or too processing intensive before. So real-time 3D, from our perspective, obviously is the future. But if you think about what we heard this morning in the keynote about the digital thread, digital twins, and all those pieces, they all point to the same principle. How can I interact with my data in a virtual way, share it with other people, develop and innovate on that? And of course, you want to do that in real time. The better the quality of that data model and the better the interaction with that is, the faster you can innovate, iterate, and save time when you build your next generation. What's the difference between video games and simulation? Not much. If you look at that slide, the only thing that we do better than simulation people is that we have a lot of fun when we build our things, as you can see with Fortnite and other tools. But there is no need that that has to be. Other than that, the use of sensors, innovative accessories, or the way how we simulate the world and how you interact is very similar in both ways. So why not use the same technology that has been proven over decades before to use in that field? And of course, let's see what creatives can do in that space.
Creativity lies in all of us. It's what makes us human. It starts with an idea, the desire to create, to solve, to play, to share, to interact. Together we can build new worlds. The freedom to create for all.
What's really important about this video is this is real time. What would have taken tremendous amount of efforts and long processes and tremendous amount of knowledge now lies at your hands at the piece of technology and software that's available for free to you. So let's go a little bit back and why is Epic Games here? We're obviously famous for doing games, especially Fortnite. I'm pretty sure a few of your kids are playing Fortnite, or I hope at least they do, as well as other games. But we're in a very interesting space. We create games with the software that we create ourselves. We license the software to other gaming companies so that they can be successful, and we have a very generous way of how we interact on that level to make sure that we are successful when they are successful. And at the same time, Unreal Engine has been translated into various places of industry sectors where we realize people are using the technology, so now we need to support it more. And a couple of years, we started building verticals inside the company that focus on those, which I represent one, the automotive and the manufacturing side, but we want to be sure that people achieve what they want in the space with our software. And Fortnite technology proves something very interesting. If you think what a lot of automotive companies, for example, are trying to reach from a scale perspective, interacting with their companies on large scale, think about what Fortnite does. 500 million people, sometimes we bring up to like 15, 20 million people into just a single event. So we constantly bend the boundaries of what you can do in the web and how you interact with people on a very successful and very interactive way. Now, if you can too take this battle-proven technology and use it for your purposes for free, that's a tremendous benefit and opportunity that you can think about. Broad adoption in various areas. I represent one, but as you can see, the IP that you generate from a digital perspective can then easily translate in all kind of other ways. And it's very important to think about those things right away. When you create data, that digital IP in the right software can be shared across different platforms, different industries, and can generate revenue or success where you didn't think in the first place. Like when people create a movie today, they have to think about, maybe I want to create a game right away as well, or a web interaction. The same way you can think about, if I create a product and I want to do a clinic, how people test that, I can do that in the same software and interact with my clients while I'm designing through the web or other collaborative means right in that at the highest visual fidelity that you would want to have, which is a tremendous opportunity that you didn't have before. So you have to think about what are other industries doing, what is this technology offering for you, and how can that be a benefit for your future innovation. We are creators ourselves, so we prove what we talk about on ourselves. We're not releasing anything that we can't use ourselves. That gives you immediately a battle-proven, and I use this term a lot, piece of software. If you think about it, when we released Unreal Engine 5, which is something that I encourage everyone to check into, we already released Fortnite in that software ourselves. So we're risking and working on our own well-being with the things that we develop so that when you get into it, you can ensure that it is at a level where it should be. It's an open platform and free access. If you download Unreal Engine, there is no cost to you. If you use it in that space that you're in and you're not creating games or you're not creating off-the-shelf software with it, you can pretty much use it for free. If you want to have a support contract, we can create an enterprise license. We can talk about all kinds of things, but the software at its core is free to use, free to create. You have entire access to the source code, which is really important for you if you want to develop your own applications. So no hidden strings. How does that work from a business model? Well, we have our games and we have a marketplace and we aim for high adoption, lots and lots of users that then can share and a marketplace can operate with microtransactions or other principles. So there is no risk that we come back and just try to get you on a hook and then we change our business model. That's not the plan. So in design and manufacturing, a lot has changed. You're here because you want to talk about innovation and change in digital data. And so what we see is people using it for design analysis, training, virtual tutorials, going all the way down to represent your entire factory floor. I encourage you to come to our booth and see the matrix simulation that we have there of the entire city. That's 9 square mile city with 7,000 buildings, 45,000 cars, 7,000 digital humans that are all driven by AI and interacting with each other. That was used for the creation of the latest Matrix movie as well. So you can simulate things that are in your field easily at the level of a Hollywood movie. Who wouldn't want to do that? You want to see your future and your innovation at the best presentation possible and interact in it in a very specific way. So we have lots of different workflows that we've identified in those different industries, primarily the automotive industry, but we're translating all of that into the general manufacturing industry as well. And you can see the different use cases in that space, and I hope one of those touches your own interests that you have at that moment. Key part of this is how do you get data into the system? So we have Datasmith that allows you to connect not quite yet to PLM system, but we're working on that. But to get all kind of various data into the mix, whether it's coming out of CATIA or other visualization platforms, so that you can interact with that data that you have generated in real time in this high fidelity that you've seen in these other videos. What we see in automotive is that it's used in design and marketing quite easily, which makes sense, right? A representation interaction with those models is like core to those industries. But the latest thing that we've started to do is to integrate Unreal Engine into embedded systems. So it runs on super limited hardware and brings you that visual fidelity right into the product. So with the first cars on the road that have Unreal Engine HMIs, you can see where the world is going with the term metaverse and what everyone is like talking when they get buzzed up. That like you bring this technology and this visual fidelity and the programming capabilities right into your product. So how much better could the interaction be of the robots and other things that you create on the factory floor if you could use this visualization technologies and interaction technologies and learn from the gaming industry how you make people learn fast and have fun with the work that they do. Because remember, third slide, what's the difference between simulation and games? What we do is fun. So think about how you get the next generation to be interested into your field. Like make manufacturing interesting again by using interfaces and tools that like speak to the generation that's coming up and make work fun and allow them to do more than they ever could. So if you think about like the process-driven principle of how you interact in that field, one of the things that we identified is that like data is being reused and used in marketing, for example, over and over again for the different touch points that you have in the field. So we worked on optimizing all the end touch points that you might want to use with your customer, whether that's a real-time interaction, whether you need images, whether you need tutorials, whether you want like low fidelity, mobile applications. They all come from a single source of truth. So you create your model once in high fidelity and then stream it out into all these other applications. If you want to know more about what we've done in the different workflows from design, engineering, training, simulation, and marketing in the automotive industry, we've just updated the automotive field guide, which is a compendium and a use case collection of things that have happened in the industry. We have a couple of physical prints there, but you can download it for free from our website as well and like get a deeper understanding how it's being used in that field. What we've learned through that automotive field guide is that like across the development cycle, and you've seen this slide probably in variations in various ways on other presentations that are happening here today or when people talk about Industry 4.0 or digital twins or digital threads. So we're trying to figure out how do we create that center point, a visual development platform that allows you to use IoT, AI, digital twin principles, as well as a connection to PLM with a consolidated platform, open development platform that is based on Unreal Engine. And with a couple of automotive clients, we're seeing the first things come to life where those holistic pipelines are coming to be. If you read the news about BMW and what we're doing with GM, for example, you can learn more about what's happening in that space and how on a large scale these principles are being adopted already as we speak. So this is not a fantasy, this is happening in the industry right now. Training and simulation, I want to go back to that. There's lots of use cases with other free platforms where that has been integrated, like Carla, and you can find a live community out there that is sharing their tools and principles of how you can access this field. So I encourage you to check out what you can do and embrace the idea of open software development being in the space, because we believe that like no single company will be available to compete against the massive capabilities of an open source, an open platform community that is constantly contributing to a marketplace and reiterating things that you already think you know, but taking them to the next level. So I think that's one of the core things that have changed in the industry, to accept that principle and work better out of that realization. So a core piece that comes with this is to think about how do I connect my different services, my different innovation ideas with the data, and then create smart, digital, connected platforms and products. Like I think to develop something today that has no connection to a smart device or a smart process that you can visualize in premium quality is a failure. You will eventually run into a wall that you can't connect with other parts of the businesses. And as the big OEMs that you possibly are trying to sell your innovations and products to are basing their principles on those theories and are trying to connect everything into their fields, it's best to run on a platform that allows you to share that IP and work within those principles to be successful in the future. And just as one example, if you look at the automotive user journey, this has changed quite a bit. All these different segments that you see on that circle have been separated originally, and in my past, I had to work with all of those in separate ways and like constantly recreate data or find different ways of how to approach them. What we have today is that you can design in real time with these tools, helped through AI. So when you draw surfaces and AI optimizes those surfaces right while you're sketching them, then you use the same data if you use Unreal Engine to go into your PR and present that to a reporter, create a tutorial, create a VR experience to like directly interact with that, or use it to enhance your clay model and see like, what does it mean if I made changes to the clay? How will my real model look like? Or the other way around. I change my virtual model and then change the clay based on like what I just have found to be a better solution. And I can collaborate either through the web, through VR, or through screens in real time with my colleagues, and therefore get to a better product in a faster way. And then you take this data and give it to engineering and marketing. They build their, in the automotive space, configurators right out of, and because you can take the same software and drop it into the web and your clients that buy a car interact with the same software, you already like cut down 2 steps of data recreation and inefficiency that you have in those conventional processes. And the beauty is your designers and analysts work at the same quality that your marketing people work right away, which is again a better way of communication and a faster way to get to the next point in your journey. Now, everyone's talking about the metaverse. This is one of the cornerstones of technology that you will need to engage in that way. Imagine a virtual dealership that is in that space that uses the same data. You take an avatar, you walk in that space, you recreate your physical dealership in that space. Now you walk in there, you bring your family, your friends, and the dealer in the space. You all configure together. You get really close to making a decision before you finally go to a physical place, drive the car, and then do this. You probably cut down 30 to 40% of time of iterations in that space where you want to be. Now, going further down in that circle, people need to learn how to use those products. So if you create with the product data, the tutorials and trainings, then you can use the same data again, train your sales personnel, train your clients on the same aspect in a very efficient and gamified way. Like you can create games that teach people how to operate in that space. And now the technology can be your HMI as well. So you have like a constant circle of like where the data evolves and revolves around your clients and interacts with those clients in an efficient way. And so that's core of Unreal Engine. It can be used across platforms, which is like one of the big things that Epic Games did with Fortnite. Again, going back, why is Fortnite so important? It was one of the first, if not the first, that crossed all the platforms. You could use the same game, the same technology, no matter what it was. PC, PlayStation, Xbox, mobile, all these gated worlds all of a sudden were connected by technology and you could interact with all those players, which is what you want. You don't want to end up in like a dead end where what you create only caters to like one specific technology owner or technology capability. So how does work change in the future? So what we've learned over the last 3 years is that like Unreal Engine and virtual ways to interact with data teach people or like interact with your clients or possibly help surgery in a faraway place with a doctor that can't get there is like based on this technology. And what we see, for example, on LinkedIn is that there's a tremendous search going on for the capabilities that are in that space. And they have like weird definitions of name that no university directly caters to. So we're focused on like helping the educational system get up to speed to educate the right people, as well as training that we provide ourselves so that like your engineers can come into that space and work in the way that you've just seen. Human-machine interfaces are the future. I mean, as we heard, like, I don't know the exact number, I don't want to misquote it, but like there was this idea by 2030 that like, was it 800 million jobs are gonna be done by robots? Someone needs to interact with that machines in a decent way. And that's why human-machine interfaces are so important. And the design, the UX, and the way how you represent the interaction with those machines becomes a tremendous benefit or disadvantage of your product. If you can't interact or teach those machines in an efficient way, and Uber, for example, used Unreal Engine to create a virtual world to train that Uber AI to drive in that space, learn edge case situations, cut down on the time it takes to create an autonomous vehicle, right? So instead of driving 2 million miles, you like reiterate in the virtual space in a high fidelity environment how your robots and your machines learn. And you can do that with any machine. Like you can create your production floor, put a robot in there, and teach them in that space without risking anyone's life. Imagine if you can train a firefighter in VR that like doesn't have to walk up the stairs on a roof and then learn that it's better not to take a step backwards and fall, just like be in VR and kind of like get accustomed to like I'm in heights, I like understand what the risks are, and the first time they're deployed or do that in a physical training, they're already in a better spot than they would have been without doing this. And so cars, again, at the heart of what we do, when with the first cars coming to the market, we're showing already how you can use Unreal for a complete replacement or an HMI or just running apps on that HMI and make that whole experience better or get it to the next level. But of course, the vision of like where that needs to go has just started. How can you operate in that field? What does it mean with augmented reality that you can do in that space? With autonomous driving, can you turn the whole car into a gaming space? Like all the windows become screens and you live in a virtual world while your car is driving around. All of that becomes possible all of a sudden with this technology. So what skills do we need? How do we get people there that they can actually operate in that space? Why did I show you this video? There wasn't much manufacturing in there, but single people, if you looked at the title, after 8 to 12 weeks of training, create content like this. We have training programs that allow you to get up to speed really quick. We can cater those trainings particularly for those needs. And it shows you this relatively short time. And of course, these people had storytelling backgrounds. So they focused on like how do they translate their creative energy into a visual result. But if you take your experience, add Unreal training to it, use this highly capable software as well as the libraries that come with it, you can create content at that level. How much more is that than what you can do today with the software tools that are in your hands? So as I said, real-time is creating massive opportunities. So the next generation has a complete new space that they can tap into that changes the perception of the places that they go to, as well as the attitude and the flair, the atmosphere that you have in those places. So it changes what you're offering to the next generation, as well as yourself, and like what you're operating in. And so we have seen tremendous studies that say this is the path to go, and to make sure that you connect that to your digital efforts. AR, VR, MR, XR, whatever you want to call it has been around a long time. But we finally see that software and hardware, as well as the effort of investment to get there, is bringing the benefits that people wanted to see. So there is a renewed effort to create open XR standards and make it easier than ever to take your software and your experiences and translate it into that space. So for that, with the last release of Unreal Engine, we added new templates that allow you to start your projects with relatively easy setups in the different areas of whether you're like trying to create something in AR or VR, or if you want to collaborate in your applications across the web. So you can start at a high point already, and that's a general thing we try to do with samples and templates, that we pre-create projects that you can pick up for free and build your own projects on top of. So you don't have to like figure everything out yourself. You can start with something that already sets the framework of where you need to be. Another key piece in that is there's a lot of talk about human-centric design. So how do you get digital humans at high quality into your projects? That's why we created the MetaHuman Creator. In the games world, the avatars that represent your hero is the core piece of a game. And like if you look at the games, if you play yourself or if you see your kids play, those avatars have become Hollywood actors. They look tremendously good. They're really close. Now they're being used in Hollywood movies. So we created a web-based application that allows you to create characters at that level. It's not meant to create likeness right now, so it's not like meant in the first place that you try to get like yourself as a perfect representation, but you get an extremely good-looking, operating, and rigged digital human that you can use as a concierge or as a to do ergonomic studies with, and like put them into your applications. As you've seen with the studies of those students in those projects, you can use them right away in those projects. And so it gets you really close to reality. Like this capability before 6 months, 1 year of work, tremendous amount of costs. Now you can create something like this in a couple of hours for free. So that comes as part of using Unreal Engine, as well as a couple of other libraries that I will show you that you can use to make your introduction to the software easier. So our goal is to empower you with real-time skills in an easy way so you get to the next step and can do your next innovation with a visual development platform that allows you to do all the things that I have talked about. And we're seeing a cultural change happening in the education system and in the industry. Like the industry is embracing this new path, but as I mentioned before, you can't find the right skills easily right now, and everyone's looking for the same people. So our focus is shifting towards the educational part, making our trainings easier to accessible. There is a lot of training available on the web for free that we have on our website. There is a new developer forum that we just opened up where you can go in and interact with other people and ask them for help. And it's a very lively community that is willing to be in that part. But of course, we have to change the curriculum of universities. And there are some programs going on here in Detroit with the ARC, the Augmented Reality Center that we're doing with Oakland University. We're working with the other universities as well to make sure that like Unreal Engine becomes part of the curriculum so that you can find resources for develop with the universities, as well as find the future generation that is capable of working in this field. As I mentioned, lots of way to learn, whether you want in-person training from us, or if you want to go to the website and find that, or use third-party educators. If you want to become if you want to become a trainer, we have a certified trainer program. So if you see a business opportunity for yourself in teaching others with your particular skill level, in combination with the skills that Unreal Engine bring to the table, please reach out to us. We're always happy to enhance and go to the next level. One thing that I want to mention too is there's a wide ecosystem in Epic Games. Over the years, Epic has grown quite a bit beyond what Unreal Engine represents. You saw the MetaHuman creator. Twinmotion is a real interesting aspect, which I'm going to tap into too. But you have Reality Capture, which is an app that allows you to scan with your phone objects and like turn them into 3D objects that you can use at a fairly high quality based on what we did with Quixel, which I'm going to mention in a little bit. Sketchfab and ArtStation are part of our ecosystem. So there is a huge library of free content that is available to you that you can work on. So you don't have to create everything yourself. The biggest part and the biggest hurdle in projects like this is that you have to create environments, which is not what you're skilled to do and which you don't want to spend your money in the first place and your energy. Now through those libraries, you can do this for free in a relatively simplistic manner. And like environments like this and the ones that you've seen are based primarily on the Quixel Megascans library. So we have a team of people that's like running through the world and like based on themes are photographing and scanning objects and making them, if you use Unreal Engine, for free available inside the tool. So you can pick them up and build your worlds and objects based on that that are not related to what you do yourself and the data that you create yourself. So the Quixel ecosystem is really interesting. The Megascans, amazing quality, being used in Hollywood movies and in games already. So it's definitely at a level where you can use it for industrial use cases. Bridge allows you to, and Mixer allow you to bring this data into Unreal as well as change it. So if you scan it in one color and one material, you can actually switch it up based on intelligent algorithms that are like in the software and allow you to like take the other generation and the next generation and the configurability of those assets into account. And with Reality Capture, you can use the same principles to create your own assets in the same way. And then you get to a point where you can create, as it says here, stunning visualizations in a few clicks. This is created with Twinmotion. Twinmotion is, if you want, a spin-off of Unreal that is focused entirely on the architectural industry at the moment. And it allows you, based on libraries, without any knowledge of how Unreal Engine works, to create images like this, which is a tremendous benefit to architects. They can like bring their data in, throw materials on it, put a weather system in it, put people in it that walk through your spaces, and when you render it out or you interact in VR, it looks like this. In anything else before that, that would have been a tremendous effort on their side to get there. What we're going to do with Twinmotion next is look at other industries and how can we find workflows that can be condensed into software packages like this, or like just do it inside of Twinmotion. And if you have interesting ideas of what workflows those could be that are applicable across a wide range of different applications, then please reach out and we're happy to talk. Another piece, I started building out a physical lab in Detroit, and then of course, the pandemic kind of prevented from making that happen. So I used Unreal Engine to explore what everyone is like hyping up as the metaverse right now, to think about what is a co-presence virtual innovation place that people can meet at. What you see here, and you can see it at our booth too in Interact, you can also log into this space, is the idea to recreate a virtual space that you can access through a browser. You create an avatar, you walk through, and in comparison to like Zoom and Teams, you have the team dynamics and group dynamics that you have in a physical space. So it's spatial audio. You can only talk to people that are close to you. Different groups can have different conversations in the same place. You can have video chats in the place if you sit down. I can recreate fairly complex situations like virtual production. And virtual production is the principle that you take a Hollywood stage and turn it into screens. And actors are acting inside that volume that is like run by Unreal Engine as a real-time game and are shot with the visual effects instead of with green screen. Everything happens right in the stage. So how do you explain someone how that really works? Because whatever image I created in your minds, you probably don't see what it really is. You can go to the space and see a digital twin of that virtual production stage and learn how it operates. So if you have complex products that you want to teach your salespeople or your clients, you can create a space where they can come to and interact with your brand, interact with your salespeople with an avatar, have a better experience than like just having a phone call or seeing videos. You can pick up objects, you can interact with the objects, you can have meeting rooms in the space. So it's a first test to see how far can you take social interactions and co-presence in the web through a pixel streamed experience. And pixel streaming is a core piece that I would like to point your attention to. The idea that you can create your software in the cloud, run it in the cloud, and people just access it through a browser. There's a service that was just launched with Google where you pay like $1 per hour per user to stream your software, which is like extremely affordable, even if you scale it at high amounts of users, that allow you to interact now through the cloud. You build your application, you put it into your own cloud, or you put it into one of the big cloud providers, and you run your application collaboratively with other people, whether you design together, whether you just communicate together, or whether you just demonstrate what you want to do. You have an easy way now to share without carrying around powerful hardware. So imagine you have like your product, you want to do a product presentation. So instead of like making a difficult setup, you just show up with your laptop, you have a good internet connection, and you just present it straight there. That brings us to the metaverse. I don't want to like make this too much of a buzz talk, but I believe that like all those things are running towards the principle that 3D is inherently the future, and you want to interact through cloud-operated applications. And so how are you going to get there? You need a cornerstone technology that allows you to work in manufacturing principles based on PLM data and like efficiency principles that you want to achieve out of all the other things that you hear all day long, but you have to combine it with visual experience, and that's what Web3 is going to be. Like a place where you internally and externally live, interact, and present and work with your products in one shape or form. Last but not least, what we can contribute and make it easier for you, we have a mega grants program, which you can find on our website, which is the idea that we say we want to help you develop. So you can apply for a grant to create pieces of software, pieces of technology that you need, and we give you the money for it. No IP transfer, no restrictions from our side. Think about smaller projects, smaller things that you want to achieve right now, but like you say, I don't have the financial means or the help to get there. You can come to us and we will do it. Don't think about the biggest projects. If everyone shows up with a $500,000 project, that's not going to happen. But if you think in smaller iterations and pieces that you're willing to share, things that make the open community better, those are the things we're looking for. How can we make this community start developing small snippets of software pieces, processes, and tools that all of us make a benefit from? Like if you remember the keynote of Tom this morning where he said like we're a community, and if we work together like with Diamond, we can get to the next step. This is the same principle. Let's think about how we can help you get over that hump to start building pieces of technology on top of Unreal Engine that we can all work together. With that, I'll open it up to questions.
Any questions?
There's
perfect. Coming.
Hi, good morning. My question revolves around the interaction between machinery and Unreal Engine. Is it the code would have to be built in Unreal Engine for like moving robotics or something to where the kinematics of the robot would work in Unreal Engine? Or is it an interface like a digital twin that would feed Unreal Engine with the actual position of the robots?
Both works. Unreal Engine is based on C++. So you have an easy way connecting through that code directly into the engine, but you can run hardware, software in the loop with Unreal Engine. So you can have like one thing happen here and another there. Whether you're capable of running your simulations in real time the way that Unreal Engine does, that's the question that you have to figure out. Right? But like Unreal Engine will not make your software real time. So if that simulation is not running in real time, it will not run in real time. But you can export it. You can use the principles that you've pre-calculated and then use it in Unreal Engine. But you can for sure connect your sensors. So if you have software APIs for your sensors. You can connect them to Unreal Engine, and your machines will see whatever happens in Unreal Engine, and you can connect those simulation worlds that way.
Thank you. You had mentioned the wide applicability of the Unreal Engine across many different industries for design, architecture, even social interaction. Do you foresee a day where the Unreal Engine's main use will no longer be for video games, but instead those purposes, and do you see that date coming soon?
That's an interesting question. I will answer it that way. We see already a convergence between the game and the media entertainment industry. Hollywood movies are being produced with Unreal Engine. The interactivity of games is being introduced into the entertainment industry. Like there was this test of Netflix that you saw where you could like influence like where is the story going. So I think yes, there's a convergence. There will be other things that contribute to that. The way I would answer it, if we take that world of Web3, it will need cornerstone technologies that allow you to do that. And I believe Unreal will be one of those cornerstones that runs, particularly for high fidelity 3D interaction and allows you to do things there. But there will be so many other services that you will need to like make this all operate. So it's not going to be the only thing. But do I believe that like gamification will be across the board? Yeah, I believe, especially in training and simulation, you will see a lot more of game engines like take over just because of the benefit and the knowledge that has been created with games. Like if you think about it, every game has this tutorial section at the beginning. Like, and some of these games are fairly complicated. The interactions that you have to do are not easily translated to people because it's not what people usually do. Even Fortnite is like you have to learn. Games have figured out how to bring people in a very pleasant way to interact with these complex worlds, learn, stay engaged, get a benefit of it. So how do you translate those capabilities into these other worlds and use them in the space? And then use the same technology to achieve the same quality. And I think because it's open and free, at that quality level, you will see that like people tend to go to those pieces because the development factors and the speed that we bring innovation to the market is incredible.